Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's happening? The Marketing Savage Facebook group and the Marketing Revolution podcast. We're actually doing a live podcast tonight. And I've got my wife here that seems to think that my new camera makes her face look chubby. So
it makes it look so
she's
chubby.
going to continuously. She asked me why my face looks so thin, but hers looks so chubby. And so anyhow, we were dealing with that, which threw me off. Which basically threw me off this evening.
I don't like this camera.
You're going to be all right on this camera. You're going to be able to do it. So welcome.
I don't like this camera.
To my new office.
This camera sucks.
This
really
camera's
bad.
Awesome. Hey, look, somebody said she's a hottie. So there you go.
I know. Look how long my hair grew since the last time.
Women are literally so self-conscious that I've had her take me around the house to take a photo. just a simple photo.
Shut up.
And we went around from one window. We went over to a couple mirrors. We've went to different lighting locations that she prefers, and literally spent upwards of 15 minutes trying to get a picture between the two of us. And then she decides that today's not a good day to take a photo and literally deletes them all.
It is what it is.
So,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
What's going on, James? How you doing, brother? So welcome aboard, everybody. If you guys have not heard, we are doing a giveaway that's going to be happening on Halloween the 30th. And,
I thought Halloween's on the 31st.
Okay, yeah, so the 31st, that's correct. Thanks for correcting me there. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. And what are we going to be doing a giveaway? Can you, well, you're stuck there, but we got a couple bottles here. Actually, can I get them out real quick? Let's get the bottles out of there. Let's show everybody what we're going to be doing for the giveaway. We've got a giant bottle of tequila here that we're going to be giving away, and all you've got to do, my friends, is an invite. So invite people to our Facebook group. And this right here is literally a small batch Garrison Brother Texas, straight up Texas bourbon whiskey. So I'm going to be giving away some savage as fuck whiskey. This is like $100 bottle, small batch. It's all got the wax seal and all that cool stuff on it. So some really cool stuff here. And then I'm going to be giving away this giant big ass bottle of tequila. This is going to be second place. You're going to get yourself some savage tequila, and all you got to do is go up there and invite some people. So we've got some contenders, by the way, just so you know. We do have over 100 members in the last 24 hours. So we've had some serious contenders step up, and I'm not going to tell you the exact amount of invites yet, but I'll tell you that we've got some people that are literally running neck and neck. And that all happened yesterday, so appreciate that, guys. We're going to grow the group, expand the thing. I already cast the vision, the group expansion. We're going to be hitting 3,000 members here very, very soon. I'm super excited. Because this isn't the old days of Facebook. I mean, we're on a marketing podcast right now. The old days of Facebook, you could literally put motherfuckers in a group. So you could go through your whole friends list and put everybody in that list in the group, and people would just, okay, I'm in the group now. Nowadays, they continuously made it harder and more complicated, all that kind of stuff. So you actually got to invite people, and then people got to get the invite on their timeline, and then based on the invite on their timeline, they got to be encouraged enough or interested enough in the group to actually come on board. So that, my friends, is what we're doing this month.
You look like you're about ready to fall out of your seat. You're like sitting right on the edge of it.
Have you guys seen this seat? I don't know if you guys have seen my chair.
Oh, dear Lord.
This is why you gotta watch the podcast live inside of the Facebook group, because I be showing shit. And this is literally my favorite chair that I've ever got in my life. The actual back side of it, you can see the front of it's leather, but the back side of it is actually made of cowhide.
It's pretty.
Yeah, that's real motherfucking cow there, guys. Real fucking cow right there. And for some of you guys who may be listening to the podcast, We are doing this interview in my new office in our new house that we live in right around Frisco, Texas.
We live in Little Elm.
We live in Little Elm.
On a lake.
We live on a lake. It's so weird, though, because like half of our road, there's literally one road that comes in and one road that goes out of this area, right? So, and this is the only place that I've ever found
John
in our
was
area.
Out there. John was out there walking. He talks a lot, doesn't he? He talks a lot.
Oh, well, go ahead.
John
go ahead.
was out there walking.
I thought you were busy being
and
embarrassed.
He was telling me how, like, there was all these swans out there on the lake, like 100 of them.
I had fucking old people talking to me about the swans.
I was like, John, they make fucking swans. I'm like, there's their cranes.
I ain't no fucking bird expert. I seen a big ass white bird out there. I immediately thought it was a swan.
So now every time we're driving down the road and we see them cranes, I'm like, oh, John, look at all them swans out there.
It's all right. It's all right.
I hear them old people went right along with you. Hell, they probably thought they were swans.
They
out there
literally
too.
sat there and agreed with me. So I got all kinds of. It's so weird. Like there's a big difference between Texas and Ohio. So I mean, ultimately the biggest difference is like people in Ohio go out of their way to avoid me because I look scary or whatever.
How dare you say hi to me
from a fucking distance? But people in Texas go out of their way to say hi to me and introduce themselves to me and all these kind of things, right? So I literally got a group of friends in this neighborhood because it's like this gang of walkers. Like we all are walkers around this neighborhood. The other thing that I find quite amazing living here in Texas is that everybody fucking waves to you. And to top it off, I had a lady who was cleaning her windows, an older lady, stick her head out the window and say hi to me and then talk to me about the weather the other day. I mean, this isn't shit that I'm used to.
It's like night and day.
This isn't the shit I'm used to in Ohio. I mean, I'm used to walking up and people like locking their doors, you know, and this kind of shit. Like, and now I live in an area where it's just I say like Texas being one of the most conservative states, it's a lot less judgy here. And I'm gonna tell you, like straight up, there's a lot of diversity here. So I mean, literally, black, white, Indian. I mean, it's like it feels like it's equal amount of every type of person.
It's like a melting
and just
pot.
Nobody seems to like give a fuck, you know. In other areas, like everybody fucking racist, white, black. You know, like around here, it's just you're fucking Texan and that's it, or you're a person and that's it, and that's some incredible differences. But I mean, you've noticed that, haven't you, from being down here?
People are a lot nicer.
Yeah, people are a lot nicer. We have had people in our old neighborhood. We've had neighbors that wouldn't like look at us.
They would go and hide.
There was
remember that neighbor in Miami.
There was a neighbor in Miamisburg that would go. He was a black guy too. It was hilarious. It's like he would dive behind a bush.
He was hiding by his tree one day, remember?
And hide from me, and or hide from us when we were coming. It's like he had such an anxiety towards talking to people or being social or interacting that he would jump in and hide in like his bush or behind his shed or something like that. We'd come pulling up, he'd be out in the yard, we'd be like, where'd he go? We're like, is he hiding behind his shed? I'd be like, yo, Ty, you hiding behind that shed? He'd be like, hell no, I'm not.
I don't think his name was Ty.
His name was Ty.
It was?
Yeah.
John. Yeah, right. Just like that. What was that? Wait a minute, the Phillips screwdriver?
Oh yeah, you know, because she asked me. She thinks that I'm Google, number one. Okay, no, so nowadays we got this form of this form of knowledge.
I told you should take it as a compliment.
Deliverance of knowledge.
I feel that you know a lot about a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah.
So I always ask.
But she asked me one day. Questions. She goes, "So why do they call this a Phillips screwdriver?" And I told her, I said, "Well, that's because of John C. Phillips, the inventor." And I just went on and on and on with it. But come to find out, the dude who the inventor, his last name was not Phillips, okay? But once I actually Googled it and found out the real answer to that question, once I was done bullshitting her, I found later that the guy who bought the patent's last name was Philip, but his first name wasn't John. So
you told me.
You imagine being the motherfucker that bought the patent to the Phillips screwdriver?
You told me that shit with a straight face too. That was not nice.
Yeah. So, but I look at this like fucking a flathead screwdriver. Like, I am so pissed if I buy something that needs to be put together and it's still got a fucking flathead in it. I mean,
I love the flathead screwdriver.
A flathead screwdriver is like the most primal way that you could have possibly made a screwdriver.
I love the
Meaning
flathead.
that you could have taken a piece of metal and hammered it flat, and then you got a flat line, and then that's the way you unscrew things.
But here's the thing. If you ever notice that anytime you have to use a Phillips screwdriver, like, it's really easy to
not slip?
No. It's really easy to
Strip out the middle?
Exactly. Yeah.
That depends on the grade of the bolts, and that also, this is a woman thing here, because that depends on you sizing the Phillips because Phillips has different sizes.
I know that.
I mean, so do flatheads.
I know that, John.
But Phillips, you got to make sure you put the right size inside of the hole. Now, what she's doing is doing a size smaller. And so because of that, it's tearing up the middle of the grooves.
No.
Simply because there's nothing for the edges of the Phillips thing to bite on.
No, you full of shit. That's not
what
happens.
We know, all of us men out there shaking our head because we know that's what the fuck is happening.
I disagree.
Yeah, that's... guys, you all know if your girl strips a Phillips, you know how she fucked up every time.
Well,
it's because she used too
my
small.
Flatheads. They're nice. I love my flathead screwdriver. I think it's the best there is out there.
I bet you do.
There we have a difference. See, you like a Phillips and I like a flathead.
Yep. So,
hey, what was that thing that you told me that one time about our relationship? Remember?
That was a long, deep one. I can't remember all that shit.
But you totally figured out how we are.
Oh, about our communication problems?
I don't think we have horrible communication problems.
No, what our problems is you view things much differently than me. So you process information differently than I process. And I truly believe that this is the communication problem between man and woman. Is just that we process information differently. Yes. And because of that, there's a disconnect in just our language or our conversation. For example, I'll take a phone call with somebody, and let's just say this phone call happens to be a mutual friend of ours. And I'll have a nice long phone call, and after I get off the phone call, I'll be just thinking about, man, that was a nice phone call. Really made me feel good, And
I can always tell.
And to be honest with you, I won't really be thinking about what was said during the phone call. I visualize it. I take in information in the way that it makes me feel. Her, on the other hand, she wants to know details of the entire conversation.
I love details.
So she's like, okay, well, hey, what did you talk about? And I'm like, oh, it was good. And then she'll say, no, I mean, what conversations did you have? And I'll say, I mean,
well, I was just like, why is the conversation good? You guys must have talked about something really, really good. Why did it make you feel so good?
And I tell her that, I don't really know. I know that we talked about these things, but I just don't remember every detail of our conversation because I process information in the way that it feels. Now, what can happen during this situation is I can get frustrated because she's trying to get me to push something out of my thoughts, out of my mind, she's trying to bring something out of me that's annoying. Right. So, and no, but here's the flip side of it. It is. Oh, yes, it is. To somebody, but here's the flip side of it. If I don't process that information and tell her all the details, then she gets annoyed. So she's being annoyed by the way that I process that information.
All right, Sarah, you're right on this one.
I took a step back and I said, you got to realize what's happening here is that the way that you process information is different than mine. And by me not delivering it in the way that you want, or by me getting annoyed when you ask me to present it in a way that you want to hear it, you're taking that as offense. Like I'm I'm being offensive to you for not taking the time to give you all these details, but I'm not really, or that I'm challenging.
I don't necessarily want like all the details. I just want like all the good bullet points. You know?
I don't take bullet points during conversation.
But there's not like certain things that like stick to you about
you're getting yourself into trouble. Is that I don't see who that is. That's Sammy Knight. I don't get myself into trouble. Number one, she can't be mad at me for more than 10 minutes.
Listen, so John,
and even if she does, I got a force field around me.
John had a conversation with Lisa.
Yeah,
and I haven't talked to Lisa like that much, and I was pretty, like, profound when John got off the phone and you told me what she said about me. Because I'm like, she doesn't even really know me, but she totally got what my energy was giving off.
Well, number one, tell them what Lisa's last name is.
I'm not very good with last names.
Can you pronounce her last name?
No, because I don't want to butcher it.
Oh, my God. So you're going to bring up somebody and not even know how to say their last name?
Well, here's the thing. This is my problem. This is my issue. And since I've been with John likes to, a lot of stuff that he will pronounce, he pronounces it wrong. And I have picked up on that bad habit.
Lisa Marie Platsky, okay? She's an incredible human, incredible person. She's done some incredible things. And the wife is right. I'm terrible about, in fact, I may meet you and not even fucking remember your first name multiple times. And that's not because I'm trying to disrespect you. That's not any reason at all.
I knew
it's just that
last name started with a P, but I'm just like, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to butcher somebody's last name if I don't know how to properly pronounce it.
But yeah, basically, Lisa just took notice that we were recently at an event. We went to an Apex Fly-In Friday Mastermind, in which I was literally asked to speak at the very last minute. There was a couple of the event organizers snagged me up, asked me if I wanted to speak, so I was on stage speaking at the year's very last Fly-In Friday Mastermind, which was freaking awesome. And luckily, I'm always fueled with shit to say, as she said. Like, I'd like to talk a lot. There was 2 other people on stage with me, which was Jessica and Amy. So anyhow, I had to watch that because I can get on stage and continuously talk, and I had to make sure to reserve myself and hold back. But anyhow, we really connected with Lisa there at the mastermind. And she took very quick notice that the wifey here was scanning everybody around me to see if they should or should not be in my environment. In fact, she processes data, watches people like a hawk, and is almost like a filtration system trying to make sure the right people come in and the wrong people are out, which is our dynamic and our communication that works really well because I'm the kind of person who I literally could walk into a room with 200-300 people and I could make my way through the entire room and make friends with every single one of them, and also make every one of them feel like they're somebody and make a good connection with everybody. So that's a gift that I don't think that I had, but over the years going to networking events, and it actually all started with BNI. And I used to go to a local BNI back in Dayton, and there was about 50, 60 members.
No,
but they were always bringing in new people.
Talking, but what did she?
But she noticed that you were watching people like a hawk, like I said, and you were trying to keep certain people. She really watches people, so she's the one that when people meet me, they really feel refreshed and renewed, and then they meet her, and they 100% don't really know what to think, or they may be even questioning if she likes them at all.
But she said I was your gatekeeper.
Well, that's what a gatekeeper does. I mean, a gatekeeper is somebody who stands at a gate, and if certain people can come in, they open the gate, and when certain people can't come in, they shut the gate. Period. So basically, you serve as a gatekeeper, pushing the right people in, keeping the right people, or keeping the wrong people out.
Yeah.
Now, one of the interesting things is that I do that. I do that as well, in a sense. Like, there's very, very few times I'll let somebody, if they're a negative person, if they turn into a shitbag, if they're a hater, or even if I get negative feelings from them, when I talk to them, I'm not going to really continue a relationship. I can be cordial with people when I meet them in public. I can shake their hands. I can, kiss the babies, whatever, whatever. Kiss babies, shake hands, almost like, was that like I'm a fucking politician, man.
Like Talladega Nights.
I'm the good kind of politician, though, because I'm a politician that hates politicians.
There we go. We don't want to call you a politician.
Yeah. So, but that being said, I don't let people stay in my life for a very long time if I feel like any kind of negative impact or any kind of negative shit that I believe that they're pushing off of me. Like if I feel like bad juju at all from somebody, like they're fucking gone. And another thing that I look out for, and I recommend you guys look out for this as well. Like don't surround yourself with people that are manipulators. And you can spot like a manipulator from a mile away. They say things, they do things, they hint around about things that they're just trying to move you into the direction they want you to move based on some sort of selfish outcome that they have in their mind. So they've literally conjured up some sort of idea of.
But if somebody's going to be like really manipulative, ain't they basically a very insecure person?
Well, really, what they are is they're an individual who spends more time focusing on the outside world than they do their inside world, and that's why I really don't want to spend any time with them, because I'm into kicking it with people that focus on being the best version of themselves. And you see, there's two ways that you can do things. You can either try to manipulate the world around you and try to manipulate, maneuver, try to create little schemes and all this kind of shit. Or you can focus on just being the best version of you, actually self-actualizing, becoming who God intended you to be, leveling up to your highest level possible. And then from there, you radiate from the inside out, which brings people towards you and works much, much better than any kind of outside manipulation or any kind of game playing or anything like that. So people who are narcissists, they're reliant really on manipulation and things like that, simply because they can't really love theirself enough to fully self-actualize, if that makes sense.
This camera is just very interesting.
I love this camera.
This thing will like zoom in really good.
Somebody actually asked me, what camera do you have doing that zoom? You guys want to write this down. It's the INNEX. INNEX. It's an auto framing 4K camera. But one of the cool things is if you move around the room, like it'll go out and it'll track you. It'll like based on whatever you're doing, wherever you're moving. If you get in real close.
Why does your head look more like oval shape and mine just looks like...
I think it's because my head in general is more... Oh, let's see if it's the camera angle. Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow. Oh, that was really nice right there.
Oh. I think we found her angle, guys.
Did you see? No, wait a minute. I think you kind of missed it a little bit.
Oh, no. We found the wife's camera angle. We're going to have to take this bad boy off axis.
You look kind of...
How's that?
Yeah, but you almost kind of in a way look... Like when it got you that one time, you kind of looked like a Conehead. You remember that movie, Conehead?
Yeah, I remember the Coneheads. I was terribly scared when my son was born that he was going to be stuck with a Conehead. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like he came out of her. He came out of her. And
listen, it took 2.5 hours to push that baby out, and he was like almost 9 pounds. So.
That kid had a fucking cone on his head. Like
21.5 inches long. Like, he was a big baby.
And probably out of them 21.5 inches, 10 inches was the cone on his head.
No, it wasn't.
So I see this cone head come out, and I'm thinking, like, I just created a cone head.
You're like...
I mean, from the 80s show, The Conehead, I thought that's what happened. We had a Conehead baby. And I'm just I didn't even know it was a thing. We're probably going to have to get him these big-ass hats, something like that. But come to find out, the doctor, I'm like, is it going to stay like that? And the doctor informed me that his head would, which it did eventually round out.
And before Jonathan, came into this world, we had, the news on. And John's like, my child is not coming into this world with the news on.
And I still believe that shit.
You turned the Animal Planet on.
Man, if any of y'all are still spending time fucking every night listening to the news, I feel sorry for you, to be honest with you. Like, I feel sorry for you. I actually had a dude one time tell me that, I told him that. I'm like, dude, I don't ever watch the news. And I mean, this was probably 10 years ago. I talked to this guy. I think I made a commitment in my late 20s to stop watching the news. And the news has got me a couple times. There's been a couple times, like during this last election or during this COVID shit, that I got stuck on the news for a few days or something like that, paying attention to some shit, hoping that Donald Trump was going to storm into the White House and take it over and win the election back and all that. All this kind of shit, you know? And so the news got me caught up a little bit, but for the most part, in the last 10 to 12 years, I haven't watched the news really at all. And I read a book which had a monk in it that talked about, you know, just inner happiness and shit like that, and how really our mind is not designed to process that much information. So if you look at the news, it's like these 30 second to 1 minute segments that is just a bunch of terrible shit, one segment after the next. So what happens is that it like matches the way that our brain works and the way that our brain shifts channels all the time. So what happens is it fills our mind, our heart, our soul with just terrible shit over and over and over again.
You think them news anchors like to do that shit?
They probably don't even know what the fuck they're saying. They're probably just reading from a teleprompter.
I wonder how it makes them feel, though.
I don't know. I don't
think they would be very happy.
Probably not. I don't think a lot of Hollywood actors and shit like that are very happy.
Well, I was talking about the news anchors, but you're probably...
I mean, they're right along the same lines. I mean, they're right there in the limelight, right along the same lines, but yeah. So that being said, one of the things I learned when I was reading the book is that if something is important enough, somebody's going to tell you. So somehow you're going to find it out. With social media, that's became a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And I believe that, I guess the way that I receive my news now is just somebody on social media mentioning it or something like that. Or her seeing it and then telling me about it.
Let's go, Brandon. That was amazing. I love that whole skit.
You know what's so crazy about that is that I believe that this nation right now is just like everybody, liberal, conservative, all of them are fed up with Joe Biden.
I think they're fed up with it all. I don't think it's not just Joe Biden. I think in general, everybody is fed up with the government and everything that they're doing. I mean, in all honesty, I think it's like we're getting to this boiling point where people are just like, you guys are just a bunch of fucking assholes.
Well, you know, and the thing is, there's a group of liberals that don't want anything to do with this vaccine. There's a group of liberals that probably wanted more money from Joe Biden. And if I recall correctly, Trump sent everybody more money than Joe Biden, quite a fucking bit more money. And they're looking like Joe Biden jumped in the office and turned off the free ride. Now, whatever, we could go into conversations about how that's bad, how that's good, whatever. But what I'm talking about is this perspective of the liberal is like, well, Joe Biden's in office, now I ain't getting no money anymore. So, and to top it off, there is a group of liberals over there that do not. I mean, we're talking about people organic, tofu eating, tofu farting, you know, absolute whole food going, like pumping a fucking chemical into their body like that. Like, they don't fucking want any of that business. I know people that are straight up liberals that fucking moved to states where they knew that the vaccine people couldn't fucking get them. I know a straight up liberal that moved to Utah because she could go hide in the mountains if they started forcing people to fucking take vaccines. I mean, they don't like that shit either. And they were probably worried about Trump was going to force everybody to take the vaccine. The truth of the matter is, Joe Biden's the one that's fucking doing it. And I'm just telling you, this guy is hated way, way more than you could ever imagine. And they're just censoring shit at such a level, whether that's on Facebook or whether that's on Google or any of the platforms.
We were talking about that on one of our walks, and I'm like, don't they realize that we're a lot smarter than what they think? Like, they don't realize that we know what they're doing.
They trying to control it all, man. They trying to control it all.
I'll never understand that.
We won't go too deep into the conspiracy theories because if so, I'd have to break out our aluminum, our aluminum hats.
You know what? We should do another one of those shows. That way, I can make us some new hats.
We need some better conspiracy theories, though. I feel like the conspiracy theories when Trump was around were much better than the fucking ones that we have right now. Now it's just some dipshit trying to tell everybody what to do, and we're all going to be like, fuck you. Well, most of us are. You guys out there in California and shit like that, I don't know, man. You guys are stuck with that motherfucker bossing you around because your whole state and shit like that.
We know some good people that live out there.
We know some good people in California. They need to get the fuck out of there, man.
And they need to just come to Texas.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like the COVID numbers and shit like that, the places that lifted the mask, like Florida and like Texas, we already got through our shit, man. Everybody done got COVID a few months ago. And to be honest with you, like all of this shit that they've been saying, all of this shit that they've been doing has been nothing but fucking layer after layer after bullshit, and people already done caught on to it. Like this shit, people already done caught on to it. They've overplayed their fucking hand. So because they've overplayed their hand, now they've just breached the point of return. They breached the point where they can actually make their agenda or push their agenda. There's going to be some interesting things happen, though, because I believe in the wintertime, I don't know. I'm not going to go down the conspiracy theory hole.
But in other news.
Not going to go down the conspiracy theory hole.
In other news, I read this article this morning on Facebook. It was Alec Baldwin. And he's like doing a movie out there in New Mexico. And I'm reading the article, and they say that a prop, he had a gun that was a prop, which I'm assuming that if it's a prop, it's fake, right? Well, anyways, this gun goes off, and it kills one of the gals that was working on the set, and then it injured a couple other people. And I'm thinking, if this was a fake gun, how could it kill someone? I don't know. I think there's more to this story.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know what a prop gun is or how it works?
I figured it's just like one of them fake guns that you buy at like the store for like your kids to use.
I do not think it's that because I think your idea of a prop gun is not even close to what a prop gun actually is.
I mean, does it shoot stuff out to where it's gonna like make somebody look like they're bleeding?
No, but I'm pretty sure that a prop gun uses real like gunpowder and has a real effect to it, but it's designed not to shoot bullets. And what I think happened is some of the metal configuration inside of the gun became a projectile and shot out of it. And prop guns are very, very close to real. I'm pretty sure that a prop gun would use some sort of gunpowder in it or something like that to give not only the real effect, but the flash and the bang and all that.
Huh. Yeah. Really?
I would just do a little research. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't really know what a prop gun is. So
no,
because of that,
you're fake.
It's not a plastic gun like you buy from the stores.
No, I'm saying it's like it looks like a real gun, but it just doesn't do anything. You know, you can buy BB guns and pellet guns, and they look like real guns, and they shoot out BBs and pellets. But I mean, like if you shot somebody with a BB, you're not going to kill them.
But if you put gunpowder behind it, you could.
Then I'm going to have to Google
so
this. So
BBs are usually shot by springs in the gun, or they're usually shot by air, which is a CO2 cartridge. And both of them are not even a smidge the power of gunpowder.
All I'm saying is the way that technology is these days, you would think that...
You know what I think?
It's just like some, fake gun.
You want to know what I think?
What?
Baldwin was fucking this girl and he had to kill her. Because she was getting ready to go public. Baldwin was, if we're just going to make some shit up, let's really make some shit up. Think about it. 20-year-old Russian. Probably pretty.
In her 20s.
In her 20s.
She had short blonde hair, though, so I don't know.
She had Baldwin. She had Baldwin blackmailed. And had a video on her cell phone.
I love the way this is
of having sex with Alex Baldwin, which made him in turn.
Why would you want to have sex with that man?
Well, because he's rich.
That's I don't care.
Rich is sexy.
Okay, listen, I will never understand this. Like, where you have like young gals that will get with like these old, nasty, like wrinkly men. They got all this money. I think, like, how in the hell could you have fucking sex with them? Like,
Baldwin?
Why would you even want to put your mouth on their wiener? Like, oh,
but
like,
Baldwin,
so disgusting.
She was hoping to take some of the money and buy a new iPhone, but Baldwin stiffed her.
She's gonna buy an iPhone?
Potentially.
Potentially
a new iPhone.
You ain't gonna give it to her.
Alex Baldwin stiffed her. IPhone. So because of that, Baldwin, she was getting ready to release and sell the video. So Alex Baldwin actually has like spies on his staff because he fucks a lot of women, and they bug the trailers. And they found out that this girl was going to come public with these videos that she had, and because of that,
that man naked, that's bad.
They took a prop gun that actually uses real gunpowder, and they put a projectile in it.
No, there's just like, I just don't get it. I will never understand how like young gals think that like a girl that's in her early 20s and she's with someone that's like in their 70s. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Money is sexy. I mean,
no, like that does money. No, that's not a factor with no.
Us men get more beautiful at a later age. Gray hair.
Some do.
Hey, our wieners don't get wrinkles. And we got Viagra. We got Viagra.
I used to work in a nursing home, so I used to take care of a lot of older gentlemen.
Somebody said daddy issues. Oh, you used to take care of a lot of older gentlemen, huh? So you know how terrible it is, huh?
I used to take care of them. I used to work in a nursing home.
So you're saying you've seen their wieners? Oh my God, you were looking at old people's wieners?
Well, you have to give them a bath. I mean, they were naked.
Oh, wow. Did they ask you to rub a little harder in certain areas?
No, I only got cornered that one time, and somebody had to come in and help me get me out of there.
I would tell you, be like, hey, little lady, be liberal on the nether regions. Be very liberal on the nether regions. I need clean there over and over again, up and down, again.
There was a few that were just kind of like, it was like you just wanted to hurry up and get in and out of there.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, you had some dirty old men that were in the nursing homes.
That's terrible. Yes, James, we went off the rails. You heard it. You seen it here, bro. We went off the rails, off the deep end. So, well, she was the one going around the nursing home back then telling everybody that she was just tossing their salad.
Oh, we talked about this last time.
Well,
I fudged up on the whole tossing the salad thing, okay?
Yeah, she thought that it meant joking with
around, joking around. Ha ha ha.
Hey, James Bernard, I'm just tossing your salad over here. Hey.
I can be a little naive. I mean, sometimes, okay, so John was like, there's this certain quote or verse or something like that that's in the Bible that he walks around the house saying, and he said something, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And Jonathan's standing there with this smirk on his face.
Yeah. So it's Exiguel. And I don't remember the exact verse, but in Exiguel, it says that she lusted for men that had genitals the size of a donkey and with emissions of that of a horse. So she lusted for men that had genitals the size of a donkey and emissions of that of a horse. And she was like, what do emissions mean? And I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, skeet, skeet, skeet.
I don't know.
She's like,
skeet,
what does skeet, skeet, skeet mean?
I did not know what that meant.
And my son is sitting there shaking his head going, oh, my God, And but anyhow, she figured it out eventually.
Well, after you said Bukkake, because that was off of the movie Why Him, and I love that movie. I love that movie because the way that guy was, just like his free spiritness on that movie, that's John Hiley there when we were first.
Well, you know how I found that? I was looking at I Googled funny biblical quotes. And that came up. I mean, she lusted with of
You
men
said you were just
with
reading
genitals
it
the
from
size
the
of a
Bible.
donkey and with emissions of that of a horse. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like,
That's
Zigguel
disgusting.
thought that bitch was a hoe. And
Who in the hell would want all that stuff? I mean,
what-
because if you think of a horse, that's a lot of stuff.
how do you know this?
Wow, it's a large animal, and the animal's got a
Mm-hmm.
fairly large thing, and I would think that it would have a lot more.
Where have you seen a
compared-
horse's thing?
Oh my god, compared to a human.
My goodness.
This has really gone downhill.
Well, if she at least she didn't lust for genitals the size of a horse.
Oh,
I'm sure a
dear
donkey's
God.
has got to be smaller, right?
I
I mean, a donkey's a smaller animal. There's no way they got a horse's dick.
well, I mean, it's gonna have it's gonna be.
You know, my
fairly
dad.
big.
My dad used to say that that somebody was hornier than a two-peckered billy goat. That's some old time shit right there. Some old time sayings. Man, you're hornier than a two-peckered billy goat. Like, damn, man.
Oh, I can't believe this.
That's somebody who's awful horny. Hey, our podcast gets it just
goodness
sometimes
gracious.
it just goes down these rabbit holes. Like what you're really seeing is a typical conversation with us.
Yeah.
Like this is how the shit just transpires
People
in the
that
household.
probably met me and I'm not like very talkative and stuff like that, they're probably thinking like, oh my, this is a side of Angela we've never seen.
Yeah. There's also a biblical verse out there where this guy beats the shit out of his donkey.
Oh, that's not
And
nice.
but what it is, it's he's
donkey.
on the trail with this donkey.
And they're cute too.
And he's on the trail with his donkey, and the angel of the Lord appears in front of him. But this guy can't see it, but his donkey sees it, so the donkey gets scared and like rubs his leg against the wall. So the guy gets out and
he's
proceeds to
self-soothing.
lace into the donkey. He beats the donkey, but the donkey just seen the angel of the Lord. Then he got back out, and the donkey gets scared again and throws him off. So he beats the shit out of the donkey again, and
Poor
it's like this
donkey.
big donkey beating fest.
Poor donkey.
It's terrible.
Not poor baby. That's not nice.
That's terrible, terrible, terrible.
People deserve something very bad to happen to them when they hurt animals. That's not. If you're gonna kill the thing and you're gonna eat it, I get it. But if you're going, no. That's like John and I. We were talking about like lobster and stuff like that, and I'm like,
I'm gonna let other people kill my lobsters.
yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna kill them things because you have to dump them in there when they're alive, right? And then they make a no. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I just can't boil a live animal.
No.
I mean, if I was fucking like starving to death,
that's different.
totally different. I'll fucking, maybe
Yeah,
I'll put
you
it out of
gotta-
its misery first. Does a lobster have a throat? Cut its throat and then
I
throw it
don't
in there.
know.
But to throw one in there live and then boil it just seems like a little unnecessary cruelty to me.
Yeah.
So I'll pay a motherfucking Red Lobster to do that shit for me.
Red Lobster.
Everybody knows Red Lobster's my favorite.
Do they have a Red Lobster down here in Texas? I haven't seen
I haven't
one.
found one yet.
I haven't found one either.
I haven't found one
And
yet.
they don't
Maybe
have,
somebody
like-
can answer that. Do they have a Red Lobster in Texas?
And Cracker Barrels. You don't see a lot of them down here either.
The closest Cracker Barrel that we have to us is probably about 8 to 10 miles away.
8 to 10 miles. That's not that far.
8 to 10 miles. Well, I mean, it's across like around the it's clear over in Grapevine by the airport. So it's probably literally 8 to 10 miles, depending on what direction you're driving in Texas, can be really fucking far. Depending on what
true.
day and what time and all that shit. So,
But we finally made it to a Buc-ee's gas station.
oh,
We
they said
actually-
they do got a Cracker Barrel in McKinney too. Somebody
Oh.
just said.
But
yeah.
we made it to Buc-ee's gas station.
Dude, if y'all ain't never seen a fucking Buc-ee's gas station, it's like a gas
is
station
like-
that's about half the size of Walmart.
Yes.
And it's got like what 200 or 300 gas pumps around that motherfucker.
So we stopped at one that was around Fort Worth over by the racetrack. And then they got one over in Denton, which that one's closer to us. But the one in Denton.
What's up, Mike? No, brother, I couldn't see your name, man. It's if you click the button up above, there's like a approval button where I can see your guy's name. But the only person's name I can see is James Bernard's. So,
but the one in Denton has more pumps compared to the one in Fort Worth. That thing is that's like redneck heaven when you go in there.
Yeah, you go in there, man. There's like a deli. Heaven. There's like a barbecue joint. They
sell a shitload of beef jerky.
The biggest fountain drink section that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It is redneck paradise, my friends. It's like almost like the type of people you meet on the Mack truck, you know? If you guys ever been on a Mack tool truck and you're in like a local mechanic area, the type of folks you'll meet on there, same type of folks you're going to meet in Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
It's funny because I get, the interesting thing about me is I can mince in with anybody.
Yeah, so, John can. He has no
for some reason I can mince in with rich people and it works too. But I can mince right in with white trash. I can mince right in with gangster-like people. I can mince right into fucking cowboys, all of them. I can somehow get right in with them, man. I think it's because I got a little bit of all of them inside of me.
I think you do.
I'm a little bit of redneck, a little bit of white trash, a little bit of cowboy. I'm a little bit of gangster, and I'm a little bit of a wealth type dude.
Do you think that may be like do you think the Midwest does that to people?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I got a little bit of everything in me.
I'm just wondering if maybe like the Midwest.
Part of it I think is your experience in life. I mean, I grew up mainly with most of my friends when I grew up were black people, and I had friends that were Mexicans growing up, and then of course had white friends, that were it was interesting because my black friends were some of them were like gangster as fuck. Like literally crack dealers and shit like that were actually really nice people, but you'd never know, and then we had we had the other aspect of the people that I hung out with. I mean, I hung out with like white preppy dudes. I hung out with people that like the funnest time that I had with people was the Catholic dudes. Like there was this Catholic high school that was a city over, and it was really a bunch of rich kids because you had to have a decent amount of money to put your kids into Catholic high school back where we lived. And so I got in with these kids, and literally people that I went to high school with was like wondering where the fuck I was. And little by little, one friend after the next started finding out where we were hanging out on the weekends and shit like that. Because we were trying to keep it on the low. We're like, we found these cool motherfuckers, man. We're going to just fucking hang out with them all the time. So we started hanging out in all these fucking rich-ass houses in the suburb and all that shit out in the country. And their parents would leave out of town. They had all the alcohol, all the parties. I mean, it was just one hell of a time. So I would go from hanging out with a crack dealer to hanging out with people that were in Catholic schools.
You just got around. You got around.
Hey, you were good friends with my crack dealer.
Yes, I was. Yeah, Jerome Rome.
He never sold me crack.
Oh my goodness, he was a nice person. He was very.
We know a nice crack dealer.
He was very well. I mean, he was nice to me. I can't say anything bad.
He's always cool to all his friends.
He didn't do anything.
Last time we seen him, he was fighting a case though.
Oh
I guess somebody tried to steal his crack, and what he told me was some sparks started popping off. I mean, he was shooting at motherfuckers.
Oh.
He's the very first person I walked in and seen loading a gun with a pair of rubber gloves, and I'm like 12, 13 years old, right? And I'm like, Rome, what are you doing loading the gun with the rubber gloves? And he's like, oh, you don't want your fingerprints on the shells. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. That's the good shit you learn, growing up.
Yeah, but the last time you talked to him was like a long time ago, though.
It's been a while.
I mean, it's probably been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're talking like
I think the last time I seen him was probably when we lived back in that area, maybe 15 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, see,
it's been a while. My mid-20s and stuff like that, yeah. I had to get away from that scene, man. All the crack and the guns and all that shit just get me into trouble,
You don't need that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anyhow, girly, I think we're going to bounce out of here. I think we got our podcast. My son's going to be coming home any minute. We're probably going to go get some dinner tonight. And just remember, guys, we're having the invite contest. So invite the fuck out of your friends because you're going to get a chance to win a bottle of tequila. I think she put it up, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
All right. So the tequila or the whiskey, the Texas whiskey, the small batch $100 motherfucking bottle of Texas whiskey, you can win that too. So
there's some that are actually more expensive than that.
We might work our way up to that, y'all.
I have to do like some research or something.
I got to get my next Joe Biden check first.
Oh my God.
That motherfucker ain't giving none of us no money. Trump done gave us more money than that.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys for coming along on this Marketing Revolution podcast. And as usual, I'm going to see you on that next one.
And remember, oh, look, Lily's in it. It's all about the motherfucking hustle. Oh, there she is. A baby girl. Yeah, baby girl. Lily was on here. Oh, that was cute.